Minecraft 1.19.4 was released earlier this week, and I think it's about time that we did a vanilla tweaks update video. Yes, look at this, it's actually been over 10 months since we last covered all of the changes and updates to vanilla tweaks. But first of all, let me answer the question some of you might be asking, what is vanilla tweaks? If you have ever watched my Hermitcraft series, you may have noticed that certain textures are tweaked and changed, and there are other features like bushy leaves that I use when I play on Hermitcraft. As you can see, these are resource packs, but vanilla tweaks is themed around keeping the vanilla feel of the game together. So a lot of the tweaks and changes that you see are very subtle, like the minor changes to the textures of the dark oak here. Best of all, it's a resource pack picker, meaning when you want to use this, you get to choose exactly what you want to tweak and change inside of the game. So here is the website that will be linked down below. You can also find crafting tweaks and data packs, which we'll come to at the end of this video, and then resource packs is where the resource pack picker is. So to give you a quick tutorial, you can pick the Minecraft version you want to create your resource pack for at the top here. All of the tweaks that you can select are split into different categories that you can open and close and then make a selection. When you hover over a selection on the right hand side of the screen, it's going to give you a visual preview of the changes that the resource pack makes. And if you want to select everything from a category, you got the pickle button right here. Now you may notice that these have now been highlighted with different colours. If you hover over them, they'll tell you what the incompatibilities are. And you also have control over what order these resource packs are put together, so you can drag them up and down to change the priority of one over the other. And of course, when you're done with your selection, you can click the download button here, and if you need help knowing how to install a resource pack, there is a page here explaining it all. And if you're using a 1.19 version that isn't 1.19.4, you're going to see an error message when you use the resource pack. This highlight here is just letting you know you can safely ignore that. So with the quick tutorial out of the way, let's now get into all of the things that have been changed and updated between this video and the last one. And I won't be covering absolutely everything because there were just so many small and minor tweaks, fixes and changes to many of the different packs. So let this serve as a reminder to update your vanilla tweaks data packs. You can actually drag and drop your one into this here, and then it will select all of the things that you have selected in your resource pack. So the point is that there were so many small fixes, tweaks and changes to these resource packs, you should basically update your pack as if you're starting again from scratch, just to make sure you get all of those different fixes. And if you've had compatibility issues between certain packs in the past, well, it's worth having a look again because a lot of these have been made to be compatible with one another. For example, the old planks, which now includes the mangrove wood, is compatible with the variated planks. These no longer conflict. Another example would be bushy leaves, now compatible with wavy leaves, plants and water. And the unobtrusive pack invisible totem is now compatible with smaller utilities. And there are a few more compatibility changes too, a great reason to go back to the picker and make your resource packs again. So now let's get into some of the new stuff. Here in the aesthetic category, there is now a subcategory. This is something you'll find in a few other categories too. This is called More Zombies, and what you'll notice here is that you have alternatives to the Steve texture. Of course, we've had Alex in the game for a long time, but now we've got these other new default characters, and now you can have zombie variants of them. If we look over to the right hand side of the screen, you can see a preview of each and every one of these. They have parts of their skin on the zombie texture, which is pretty cool. And you may also notice in the tooltip here that there is compatibility for Optifine. You can only select one of these with vanilla Minecraft, but if you select multiple and you're playing with Optifine, it means that the zombies in your world will randomly be one of the textures that you've selected. So having flown into a cave to find some naturally spawning zombies, you can see one of the alternative textures in action. It looks seriously cool. Also in the aesthetic category, brown leather has been applied to the Ravager. So now in game you can see that its saddle has the brown tint to match the leather. And before we go any further with this video, if you're enjoying learning about all the vanilla tweaks update, then subscribe to my channel, as every now and then I do a video on vanilla tweaks. Anyway, let's crack on with the video. The peace and quiet category has received a large overhaul with two new entries here, quieter thunder and quieter consumables, and like all the packs, the sound is reduced by 75%. At the bottom you'll see that there is a new subcategory for mobs, and here many of the mobs in the game have been added, including ender dragons, withers, iron golems, snow golems, allays, frogs, wardens and tadpoles. So now you have a massive selection of noisy mobs in the game that you can make specifically quieter than the other ones. In the GUI section, you can see dark UI and transparent UI have been split into different versions due to the changes in the creative inventory. And we mentioned compatibility earlier. These UIs are now compatible with the numbered hotbar and the brewing guide found in the utility section. There is also a new pack here which is literal game rule names. So when you create a new world and you go into game rules, you have descriptions of what each of the game rules are. This pack will simply replace all of those descriptions with the actual name of the game rule, which some of you may prefer. In the HUD section, which is heads up display, there are new crosshairs. You have square plus dot crosshair, heart crosshair, and arrow crosshair. And it's probably obvious, but these are the crosshairs that appear in the middle of your screen. In 1.19.4, the enchantment glint was made separate for items and armor. Their visibility was nerfed a lot too, with the introduction of glint speed and glint strength being controlled by the player. Despite this, the alternative unobtrusive enchantment glint is still available and it's been made compatible with these changes. In the options background category, you can pick a bunch of textures to become the background of the options menu. The new one that's been added is simply moss. However, all of the background options have been made compatible with the new create new world screen. So now when you go into here, instead of dirt, you have the texture that you've selected. In menu panoramas, there is one new addition, which is Sunset Valley from the 1.18 update. And I would speculate that we might see more of these with each update as Minecraft. Of course, now the tradition is that with each update, they change the menu panorama. So vanilla tweaks might be a way to end up preserving your favorites. And if we scroll down further, you'll see there is a subcategory. All of my Hermitcraft bases backgrounds have been moved into this subcategory. This next one you saw at the beginning of the video, and it's in the fun section. It is the spinning skull on fire painting. Now in 1.19.4, when you search for the paintings, it gives you all of them separately, and you can see that the artist here, the creator of the skull on fire, is Christopher Zetterstrand. It all started with this tweet from Zetterstrand of the skull spinning around the pixel flames, and then it's Punkin Time requested to pixelate the skull in this image, which Zetterstrand kindly agreed to do, and now we have the spinning skull. So once you selected the painting and you click in the right space of a 4x4 area, you need to remember to enable the resource pack. Aha, look at that. It will be replaced with a glorious animated painting, which is just superb. I'm definitely going to be using this one. So moving on to data packs, once again quite a few of these have been updated, so be sure to check what you've got running in your world against the version numbers seen here on the website, as some of these need updating. The big one to talk about is the More Mob Heads data pack. This one of course enables you to get more mob head types than is regularly available in the game. As you see, we've got a sheep head drop. And so with new mobs comes new heads. I'm currently wearing the tadpole head. There is also a head drop for the warden. If you kill an LA, you'll get this fancy head. And then each of the frog heads will drop their own head too. There was also the retexturing of the Vex mob, so the mob head for that has been updated. But there is actually a 50-50% chance of either getting a regular Vex head or an angry Vex head. And last but not least, the Bat mob's head that drops has had its texture slightly updated. And speaking of bats, we have a brand new data pack, which is Bat Membranes. This will cause the Phantom Membrane to drop from bats instead. So if you wanted to disable phantoms from spawning in your world, you'd have a way to get your hands on some membrane. And last of all, in the crafting tweaks section of the website, universal dyeing has been updated to work with candles. So the way you normally dye candles is like so. If you'd like to do this with the universal dyeing, you have to surround the dye with 8 of the other candles like so. And because it's universal, it means you can use any color type here. However, it does not work with the default candle, which is something that may change. So big shout out to the Vanilla Tweaks team that do all that they do to keep this project up and running. You can find links to their socials here. And also on the main page there is a Twitter account to follow, a Patreon and a Discord community server that you can join. And that brings me to the end of my list. We have now covered all of the changes and new additions between the last video and this one, and there's more coming in the future as well, so make sure you subscribe so you can catch the next Vanilla Tweaks update video, and leave a like to support the channel. Thanks as always, and I'll see you soon with another one. Bye bye.